Hello everyone. So I've got a bit of a different sort of tutorial for you guys. Our challenge this month with MFT was to use their hybrid inks for mixed media. And I came across these boxes of tumbled tiles that I have had forever. Literally, I think I bought these 8 to 10 years ago. And I thought I would show you guys how to stamp on tiles. I did these years and years ago. They were kind of a big fad for a while. I used StazOn for those, not hybrid inks, but this time I'm going to show it with hybrid inks and just show you what I do. So like I said, you need tiles to do this. These ones are the 4x4. These are the Botticino ones. I don't even think you can get these kind anymore. I remember hearing that you couldn't. But basically you just need a unglazed, unfinished tile. So I'm sure you can get something similar at Home Depot, Lowe's, any sort of home improvement store. I do recommend an unglazed one. It works a little bit easier, and I've never worked with glazed. So if anyone has questions about what to do with glazed, I can't answer them because I've never done it. But you just want some unfinished tiles that come in, I guess, like different colors. You can get like travertine style, or I don't know, like just an unfinished tumbled style of tile. And the first step that you need to do is you need to clean them off because they're going to be dusty just from the nature of the tile. So I actually just like to use alcohol. So I've just got 99% isopropyl alcohol. 70% will work great too. I got a pack of this at Costco a while ago. I just like adding some alcohol because it dries faster. But you just want to wipe off the surface of the tiles, and the alcohol, like I said, makes it dry faster. I also like to wipe off the bottom because whatever you want to adhere to, whether it be like the felt feet or cork, I'm going to show cork later. Again, it makes things easier to adhere. There's not a bunch of dust on the bottom. The bottoms I find are the dirtiest. I think you can see that on there. Like they're usually quite filthy. So just make sure to wipe everything down before you start. So I've got my tiles all cleaned off, and then it's totally up to personal preference what type of stamps you want to use, what type of design. I like to keep things fairly simple. One of the stamps I really like is the romantic script background from MFT. This is a nice one to use on tiles. I also like the cheesecloth background, I think is a really nice one. Again, it's personal preference. With the background stamps, what I like to do, I showed this in a quick tip video years ago. If you want to actually stamp with your big background stamps rather than lay it on the surface like I normally do, I just use an unused cutting pad or cutting mat from, your Big Shot or your Cuttlebug or whatever. I say unused, or just make sure it's a flat one, not one that's all warped or anything. And then that works as a perfect stamp mount. And the reason I like doing this with tiles is I find it easier to actually stamp on the tiles because I have that little bit of give to really press it in, whereas trying to get it on here, just, I don't know, I don't like doing that as much. So have my stamp that I want to use. And then as far as colors go with MFT's hybrid inks, with this specific color of tile anyway, it's kind of like a creamy grayish color. I find brighter inks work best. So the raspberries, the deep reds, black, chocolate brown, hot fudge, steel gray, night shift blue, like any of the deeper, darker inks work better. The paler inks don't show up as well. If you have lighter tiles that are more of a white shade, you could probably get away with using any of the colors. But these ones are too dark and I don't have anything else lighter. Because like I said, I found these just stored away for forever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up my stamp. For this one, I want to use the Night Shift blue ink. So I'm going to ink it up. And when you stamp it, you want to make sure you're going straight up and down. You don't want to wiggle the stamp. You don't want to smudge or smear it. So you just line it up and then give it a really firm press. And again, making sure to kind of press up and down so you're not shifting. It's with the rubber stamps, they don't seem to move too much, but you just want to be careful. But another note, if you do stamp it and you completely smeared it or you just really don't like it, use the alcohol again. It'll clean it up. If you clean it up quick enough before the ink has a chance to really start seeping into the stone. I was able to wipe off almost everything when I was playing around earlier with these inks and a tile. So got the one done, and now I'm just going to quickly stamp the rest and I'll be right back. Okay, I've stamped my background on all of them, and now I want to stamp some images. And one of the sets that I absolutely love for this is the Lisa Johnson Grand Peaceful Wildflowers. And I'm going to ink it up with the Black Licorice hybrid ink. You can use all sorts of images. Flourishes work great. Solid flower, floral images, you know, butterflies. I'll have some pictures on my blog with some other tiles I've done with different stamps. Again, it's all kind of up to personal preference. And I really like using the Fiskars stamp press because you've got the foam feet, so it kind of holds it up so I can kind of position my stamp before I decide where I want to stamp it on the tile. And you're gonna find with these, because they are a tumbled tile, you're gonna get imperfections here and there from like the divots and dips and whatnot. That's part of the charm, in my opinion. If you wanted to, you could also stamp images in color. You know, use a lighter shade for the background and then stamp, you know, flowers, butterflies, whatever, using some of the different color inks. But like I said, with this color of tile, the more vibrant colors of ink work better. But yeah, if you had more of a white sort of tumbled tile, you could be a lot more creative, in my opinion, and do all sorts of color combinations. It would look really pretty. That's kind of what I had originally wanted to do, but these tiles are just too dark of a shade, in my opinion, to really get away with that sort of a look. Alrighty, and same as with the background stamp, you want to make sure you're going straight up and down when stamping your images as well, especially solid images like this and clear stamps. They do have a tendency to want to shift, but again, that's where this little Fiskars stamp press comes in really handy, just to be able to kind of go straight up and down with it, because you just press down and then let go and it automatically lifts straight up and gives you a perfect stamped image. Okay, I've got all my tiles stamped, and this is the most important part, is hybrid inks are not permanent until they are heat set. And the easiest way to do that is to pop these into the oven. So I just lined a little baking sheet with some tin foil just to protect my baking sheet from getting scratched by the tiles. And I'm gonna toss in my oven for about half an hour or so at 250 degrees, just so that the heat will completely dry and set the ink. And another great thing to do, and I can't show it in the video because I don't have any left, but after the tiles have completely cooled off, heat set, everything else, is to spray them with a sealer. I had used, it was an acrylic sealer of some sort, that, you know, like in a spray can form. You can pick that up at like Walmart, anywhere. I think it's literally called just acrylic sealer. That is wonderful. I highly recommend that. After, like I said, after everything's done and cooled off, take them outside, give them a quick coat. I did that with the tiles I did years ago, and I swear I've had my other tiles for 10 years or so, and I've used them quite a lot, and the sealers held up, the colors held up, everything. So I highly, highly recommend doing that. And then when you pull them out, obviously you're gonna use oven mitts. These tiles will be extremely hot. You want them to cool off completely. I just put mine on a cooling rack and let them cool off for probably a good hour or so until, you know, they're cool to the touch, because yeah, the tile will retain that heat for quite a long time. Okay, I got these out of the oven and let them cool off for a good, it's been about an hour, not quite. They're still a tiny bit warm, not hot, which is actually kind of a good thing, because I want to put some cork backing on these. These are just 4-inch square cork coasters that I got from IKEA. Again, I got these years ago. I don't know if they still carry them. You can also get those little felt self-adhesive feet. They come in packs at like any home improvement type store. People have used those and you just pop, you know, one on each corner, or those little plastic ones with the self-adhesive feet. You can stick those on. Those work great too. I've used this cork before. This is actually why I bought these coasters, was to back these tiles. And I just use one for each tile, and then I just hot glue it to the bottom of the tile. So that's where wiping off any of the excess dust and everything before doing everything, that was where that was important. You don't want any dust on the bottom so the glue adheres. You definitely want a high temp hot glue gun. Make sure that it completely heats up. And that's where this works nicely too, where these tiles are still a little bit warm because the glue cools off really fast. So you have to move quickly to get the glue on and get the cork pressed in so that it's adhered. But once you've got it adhered, again, I don't have problems. You can still probably peel this off quite easily, but unless you've got someone fiddling around and trying to peel it off, I've never had an issue. Mine have held together for years and years because they just sit. But you definitely want to put some sort of protective barrier on the bottom of these, whether it be cork or the felt feet or the little plastic ones, something just to prevent you from scratching whatever surface you're going to use these coasters on. Because yeah, they are unfinished tile and they will scratch the surface. So, and then last but not least, again, I highly recommend using an acrylic sealer. I will be getting a can for myself when I get to the city or whatever, and we'll seal these just to make sure that there is no smearing or anything, depending on the type of liquid drinks you use. They might be fine without, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So that's what I plan on doing, just to not have to worry about it, so that if I do give these away as a gift, I don't have to, you know, find out later that I gave them away and then they smeared or, you know, looked gross. So if I remember, and if I can, I'll try and find a link to an acrylic sealer, like on Amazon or something. I don't know. It's been years since I've done this, and it's been years since I bought it, and I just threw the can out, I think a month ago, so, of course, because it was old and I wouldn't have used it anyway, but still. That's just always what happens. But yeah, there we go. Once my hot glue has really heated up, I just do kind of a line around the edge and a little bit in the middle, and then quickly press the cork into it, and then it's good to go. So really simple, really easy. You can make quite a few of these in one shot and then bake them all at the same time and cover them, and they make great gifts. I know they were super popular for a long time for craft shows, that sort of thing. Like a lot of crafters were making stamp tile coasters and selling them at craft shows, because the box of coasters is, for a box of roughly 9 coasters, it was under $10 back when I got mine. I think it was only like $6 or $7. And then yeah, stamping and then spraying. The pack of cork was cheap. It was a couple bucks at IKEA. The foam feet, same thing. They're pretty cheap. So it's a fun little project and gives you some more ideas, hopefully, of what you can do with your stamps and MFT's fabulous hybrid inks. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll try and post as many links below as I can in the description box below the video. There will be a link to my blog post as well that'll have a picture tutorial and finished pictures of everything. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye.